going on, guys? So today we're talking about Derek Brunson, Jared Cannonier. Let's get it going.
Aaron Rodgers, Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson.
So obviously this is the #1 contender fight. Sean Strickland just didn't do enough to beat a guy like Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson's not really that great of a fighter. He's a good fighter for sure, top 10 for sure, but you don't beat, a top 10 fighter and get a title shot. I don't care what the state of the division is, right? Especially when you have two guys like Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson, who have shown that other than Bobby Knuckles and the last Stylebender, they're the best middleweights in the UFC. I mean, there's Marvin Vettori as well, right? And one of those three guys I'd like to see Sean Strickland fight next, but I digress, right? Getting back to this fight, I think it all comes down to whether or not Derek Brunson can control Cannonier's striking with his grappling. Because I think if it just turns into a striking match, Cannonier's going to have his way with him, right? And I think that's why Cannonier is favored. I think a lot of people saw the Calvin Gastelum fight, and they go, well, that's an indication that Cannonier is hard to take down. If Gastelum can take him down, then it's going to be hard for anybody to take him down. And that's just not true. Like, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Calvin Gastelum has lost 5 of his last 6 fights. And it's kind of like the Donald Cerrone, Alistair Overeem thing. I'm trying to think of another example, but there's a lot of these examples floating around the UFC where everybody acts like, X fighter is or maybe that's X is probably not the best letter. Maybe like, the B fighter is such a great fighter and it's such a great win, right? And then we take a look at B fighter's record and we realize that everybody's great win is against it. Darren Till's last best win was against Calvin Gastelum. Robert Whitaker's last best win was against Calvin Gastelum. Jared Cannonier's last good win was against Jack Hermanson's last good win was against Calvin Gastelum. Like, Calvin Gastelum is not a good win at all. He is not a good fighter. If he's ranked purely based off of his name or that he works at ESPN. Like, he's not ranked off of his merit, unfortunately, for Cannonier and Hermanson, because he is a big part of their resume, right? I don't think that we can just say Calvin Gastelum couldn't take down Jared Cannonier, so Derek Brunson can't. But that is going to be the difference maker in this fight. I don't see Derek Brunson even coming close to Cannonier's striking ability. And I see Cannonier piecing apart Derek Brunson. But here's the thing, though, too. When you have a guy like Sean Strickland, who talked about how he should have fought harder. Maybe he let the moment get to him a little bit too much. And he's got a lot of momentum, right? Gaining for himself right now. And you have a guy like Israel Adesanya. We're assuming Israel Adesanya is going to beat Robert Whitaker. If he loses, that kind of changes a whole lot. But if we're in a situation where Derek Brunson wins and he's already fought Israel Adesanya, he might not get a rematch. If we're in a situation where Jared Cannonier, it might not just be guaranteed that this is a #1 contenders fight. Like, you'd like to think that this is a #1 contender fight, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. Because I could see this fight going for Brunson, I could see this fight going for Cannonier, but I could see the main loser being the fans. And my biggest issue, as I go on a minor tangent here, my biggest issue with the middleweight division right now is it's not exciting. There's nothing. You got a guy like Jiri Prochazka, and his hair is weird, and he's got these, his big hands, and Glover Teixeira, and he's a likable guy, and Jan Blachowicz is like a journeyman turned champion, and Anthony Smith, he's a cool guy, he seems calm, he's got all these tattoos though, right? And that's the light heavyweight division. The light heavyweight division is not that exciting either. You even look at the flyweight division, men's flyweight, and you see a guy like Kai Kara France, who really, really owned that post-fight interview that he had after he fought Cody Garbrandt, right? And that division's, we're looking like that might get a 4th rematch for the title shot in a row, right? That division's a mess. I'm not trying to compare middleweight to like bantamweight or lightweight, right, or even heavyweight, where there's a lot of crazy big name fighters, but like middleweight is honestly the most boring division in the UFC, at least in the men's UFC, right? And I would argue that even like women's flyweight, even though it's just like Shevchenko or the Field, is more exciting because, you know, you have the potential of Misha Tate entering that division. Caitlin Chukagian, or however you say her last name, is an interesting challenge for Shevchenko. I don't know if it's going to go any better in the rematch, but you know, you have Jessica Andrade as well. You have the potential for Rose Namajunas to move up. You have the potential for Juliana Pena to go fight Shevchenko. So there's actually kind of a lot in women's flyweight, which is probably the most boring women's division. Like, I would argue men's middleweight is the most boring division in the UFC. Because you have an exciting guy like Robert Whittaker, you have an exciting guy like Israel Adesanya, and then that's it. And do we really see Jared Cannonier selling pay-per-views? Do we really see Derek Brunson? And it all goes back to the idea of, like, how much do the rankings really matter? If Jared Cannonier beats Derek Brunson, and Sean Strickland is on the record saying that if Jared Cannonier beats Derek Brunson, he should get the title shot, does he get a title shot? Right? I genuinely think Sean Strickland would do a better job of selling pay-per-views. And now this is only under the circumstance that we just get a boring, you know, Derek Brunson pushes Cannonier up to the cage, knees him twice for 30 seconds. They separate. They don't do anything for 30 seconds. Cannonier throws a 1-2 with a leg kick. Brunson throws a 1 and misses. Cannonier throws another 1-2 with a leg. You see what I'm saying? Like that kind of fight. You know what I mean? Just like a very boring, melancholy, put you to sleep. Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa's up next. I'm actually going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go make another drink because I'm not watching this fight type fight. I just have a feeling that that's what we're going to get with this Cannonier versus Brunson fight. And that's why I said the main loser is going to be the fans. And I could be wrong. Hopefully I am. I am going to, however, pick Derek Brunson. The main reason for that being, I don't actually think Jared Cannonier's takedown defense is that solid. We saw Calvin Gastelum was able to take down Jared Cannonier. I honestly just think Gastelum is not the same because of the Israel Adesanya fight, right? So I think Derek Brunson's going to be able to go for the takedown, get the takedowns early. It's not going to be like just takedown, ground and pound for the entire round. I think it's definitely going to be going back and forth. I do see this being a 3-round fight, so I am going to say Derek Brunson by split decision. That's right, split decision. But let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. Who do you like, Jared Cannonier or Derek Brunson? Make sure you guys click that like button and that subscribe button for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.